lot of people in the several meetings yesterday, which was really exciting for me. They say nowadays that the power in a mobile phone is like millions of times more than what took us to the moon, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, that they trusted their lives, the things that we wouldn't use to power like a pedometer nowadays. I bring that up as an example of how old technology took people to a point and we had to kind of go beyond that. And so one of the things I want to encourage us all to do as we go through this process is, as much as possible, try to forget kind of what's behind us in the past with cars as to how we do things, and really think of both how we want to do things and the problems we want to solve. What you're going to see from the Ellucian team is going to be very, very different than anything you've seen before. I'm excited for the opportunity. Pepper them with questions. We want to have the solution that is best for you and what you do with your teams. I'm going to start with prayer before we get going today. Father, thank you for this time. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you, to serve the students and faculty and staff here at St. Margaret. It's a blessing to get together each day to come to work and be able to serve the purposes greater than ourselves. Thank you for the commitment of the faculty and staff here to support the students. Thank you for bringing the team from Ellucian here. Pray as we participate in these sessions that we would be inquisitive, that we would engage with what we're seeing, that we would not hesitate to dig into it deeply, Father, that we would enjoy taking ownership of what this process can be, and that as we think about kind of what the future will hold, we would just really, really rejoice in the opportunity to have people doing things that allow them to apply their particular talents and expertise, Father. To your glory in your Son's name.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. What's wrong with these chairs over here? It's very interesting when people come into your room and they sit. So thank you so much for your time. I'm Matthew Alonso. I'm the Ellucian account executive that's been working with Chris and the administration on this journey as we start to look at new systems. On the chairs is the official agenda. Some of you may have gotten this electronically. And so over the next 2 days on this journey, we have many sessions that we're going to, in this session, provide an overview. And then from here, we'll get down into much more granular fashion into all the functional areas. But also in the agenda in the back is our bios. And I ask you to really, at some point, read those and really study us through the next 2 days, because very much a key part of this project is the relationships that you'll form with Ellucian. You really want to be your partner, not just the software company you choose to do business. And with that partnership comes a relationship that will build over decades to come as we solve problems with you, as we see you at our user groups, and obviously as we work with you through the implementation and through your data migration from CX to the Ellucian solution. So a little bit about my background. I've been with the company almost 20 years. I came from a client site. I was a director of admissions and dean of students using the college solution. So yesterday I always get excited when the student success and the admissions people and financial aid people are part of the discussion, because that's really my background. I'm obviously not here alone. I always think of myself in the Verizon commercial, with the team behind us. This is a big project, and it takes a lot of people coming to the table, working together. So real quickly, I'm going to have my team introduce themselves, and then we'll get right into it. So maybe we'll start with Joe here.
Excellent, yeah. Good morning. My name is Joe Fisher, and like Matthew, I've been with the company for a while. It'll be 17 years, November 8th. And I focus a lot on sort of student self-service, as well as sort of the whole suite around student services, and doing lots of presentations today.
Well, good morning. My name is Michelle Dwyer. I drove up from Cincinnati, so this is a nice ride. Wherever work, good night. Thank you very much. I've been with Ellucian for about 16 years and was a registrar before that. And my area of expertise is the college student system. So thank you for this.
Good morning, I'm Kim Fisher, no relation to Joe Fisher, put that out there too. Well, no, sorry, much older brother. And I'm joining you North Carolina area, and my background is all things health management. I've been with the company just over 16 years, and that's been my whole focus.
Good morning, my name is Sarah Crook, and I'm a senior solutions consultant. I've been with the company for almost 5 years, and prior to that, I actually worked for 7 years in undergraduate admissions for a college client institution, and I'm based out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
And good morning, I am David Schroeder, coming to you from Fairfax, Virginia. And I've been working with college for 19 years. So I will be speaking this morning with the finance team, and then tomorrow with the student accounts team as well.
Great. Good morning. My name is Tracy Williams. I serve as Senior Director of Product Management for Colleague. Going on 14 years with the company. Prior to that, I was at Mariana University in Arlington, Virginia, Colleague institution in an HR management capacity. I'm also a Michigander, right down the road, Genesee County in Benton, so I'm thrilled to be here.
Good morning, I'm Teresa Dennings, and I'm also a Michigander. I'm up in Frankfort, Michigan. I have only been at Ellucian a little over a year, but I do come from a client institution, Northwood University, where I was Associate Director of Information Technology for 18 years. So thank you for having us.
Excellent, thank you, team. And we have some other people that will be coming in through the day for their various functional areas as well. I like to think of myself as almost a Michigander. I've grown up coming to Michigan. I have 2 sisters that live in Troy. These are my nephews and my niece, Anna here, and they went to Troy High School, and all 3 of them, or actually 2 of them, Jeremy just graduated Michigan State. He works for GM now. Anna just graduated Troy High School. She's a freshman at Michigan State. And Ellen is an engineering major, and he's a junior now. So, love Michigan. Come here every year for Thanksgiving. And great kids that looks like they'll be staying in Michigan as well. So, I live in Portland, Maine, so not too far away. Same weather pattern, so I definitely appreciate the great weather that we're having. So many of you guys were in our discovery yesterday, and as I shared with Chris and many others, the discoveries are really key. These are just some of the what I refer to as the top 10. From the discoveries, we really strategize with the presentations to really drive home some of the benefits of our software. You know, some of them hopefully are meaningful to you. One thing that really resonated with myself is someone said yesterday, you know, we really need a more intuitive system for higher education. I thought that was a very profound statement. Responsive apps. Everything needs to be responsive, right? Your scheduler, I think it was the specific example that it didn't work on a mobile device. You know, it wasn't designed to be responsive, designed to be on a mobile app. In the admissions area, there were some discussions, you know, you're working with a tool that not necessarily was designed for higher education. It wasn't designed to integrate with CX. And so that poses some problems from that perspective. Student success, we talked a lot about persistence. We talked about that 360-degree view of your interactions with students, faculty and staff interactions with students, to be able to see that entire view. Most importantly, number 5, it's all about student success from our perspectives and being proactive with alerts. You know, that is really the key, to be as proactive as possible, to have the system through really business intelligence to see the trends, to see those students that you need to reach out with automatically and not after the fact. And you'll see some of those things with our solutions from an early alert perspective. We talked about better integration with your learning management tool, Blackboard, and really ways to get a higher adoption of those tools, right? So we'll focus on that, and you'll see with the integration with Colleague and Blackboard through mobile apps, through portals, that really drives a higher adoption of those solutions, both for students, faculty, and staff. Number 8 is kind of what I have this term, Tier 1 ERP system. You know, with Colleague, I consider Colleague a Tier 1 ERP application. There's 750 institutions throughout the country that use Colleague. So Someone, I think this was more of a technical question, someone said, will we continue to use access databases? Absolutely not. The goal of this is to break down the silos. So where you're using Excel and little one-off access databases to do X, Y, Z, absolutely not. You'll use the colleague system for all of your constituency groups, and you'll leverage the data to operate more efficiently as a company. Number 9, really critical to your identity, right? The CCS program. We want to bring that program and the administration of the program in the sandbox, if you will. So we want all of the personas, all of the constituency groups that you all use, undergrad, your online, your learning sites, the CCS program, all using Colleague. So then, once again, from an operational efficiency perspective, reporting, looking at trends with your students and data and so forth, all using the same tool, not a separate system. Financial aid, using a lot of different third-party tools for financial aid processing. You'll see when we get to that session, you're going to just use Colleague to administer your financial aid processing much more efficiently and effectively. And there's many more items, but these were some of the top 10 that I heard. Are these meaningful to you? Did that make sense? Is that yes? Yes.
I have a question. I assume it's in there somewhere, but where is registration, evaluation of prior learning, transcripting, audit for graduation, all of that?
It's all in there.
It's in there.
Absolutely. So when you look at the agenda, these were just my top 10 that I heard. There are many, many more. In finance, we talked about, operational efficiencies, lots of manual, paper-based kind of processing. That's all going to be automated with the solution. We talked a lot yesterday about registration, requisites, cohorts, student planning. So once we get into the functional areas, and Joe's going to provide an overview of many of those sessions this morning as well. So I wanted to take a minute to introduce you to who Ellucian is. When I asked my team to participate and introduce themselves, hopefully it's meaningful to you when they say that they've been with the company 20 years, 17 years. We are, I shared, I used to be a director of admissions. I was over orientation. And so we're the ambassadors of Ellucian. You can't be on our campus, so we try to bring our culture to you to help to introduce you to what kind of company we are. Because it's critical that as we start an implementation that's going to be, 2 years, that when an admissions person is sitting next to you and can say and bring those best practices, that these are how the other 26 colleague schools in Michigan are using our solution. And so the knowledge base that we build over decades will be very beneficial to you. I've heard many stories of schools that they hire a consultant to do X, Y, and Z, and they don't understand the business of higher education. They fundamentally may not understand how's a GPA calculated. Those things that we know are unique to how we do business, faculty contracts, things like that. This is all that we do as a company, and we take great pride in that. So our mission, our philosophy as a company is really all about providing our clients with the modern technology solutions that they need so their students can achieve success. That is all that Ellucian does. Our singular focus is higher education and providing our clients with solutions that enable them to be current. So the boat that you're in with the CX application would never happen with Ellucian. We have many clients that have been with us for 20 and 30 years using the latest application that we provide today. And that is our goal for you all. We won't customize. We're going to use the application as it comes out of the box so that you can continue the journey of moving forward and staying current with Ellucian. We run our business based on 4 major strategic areas. And many of these will be very meaningful for you, from what we learned from the discovery thus far. The most important one, from my perspective, student success. Would we all agree that this is about your students? I told Chris this yesterday. You all demoed the student planning tool to us. And we were really wowed by that. You all are very innovative users of the CX platform. And that student planning tool was all about helping your students, right? Helping the students to know, where they are from a curriculum perspective today and planning out their journey with you. And so from a student success perspective, we have those tools built within our solution. And everything that Tracy, as our product manager, does from a roadmap perspective somehow comes back to be about student success. We believe that it's all about the students and providing them the tools to be successful in their academic journey on campus. And that also obviously includes faculty and staff in supporting the students from a success perspective. Another big area that we think is equally important is the user experience. And this came out yesterday when we were talking about the student planner tool, that it's not a mobile-friendly device. It's all about everything that we deliver needs to work on this. That is the world that we live in, both for your students as well as you as staff members. Would we agree with that? Can you say that again? Yes. And so obviously this is one device. There's different kinds of devices like this, right? And there's tablets and so forth. So everything that leaves our software development office at Ellucian has to work on any device. That is the world that we live in. So you as administrators need to be able to be at home on a snowy day and don't get out of bed and have your tablet and do your job. Right? You need that. Students need to be able to register on the phone. That's just the world that we live in and so forth. So everything that leaves our office needs to work on any device 24/7 and be responsive. And that's where we are today, and you're going to see that. Obviously, from an operational efficiency perspective, a lot of the things on my top 10 were about inefficiencies. You're going through this exercise to be more efficient, to really work with an integrated system, to really empower users, to have users be able to access their data, run reports themselves, those kinds of things from an efficiency perspective. And then obviously our commitment to institutional growth. And growth means different things to different schools. From an advancement perspective, it could mean from a capital perspective, having more state-of-the-art advancement tools, from a reporting perspective, from an enrollment perspective. And so I really see that quadrant going back to Tracy as our leader from a project management perspective, keeping the colleague stack current from a technology perspective. So it's really key for us to keep our clients current with a solution set that enables them to be as effective as possible to their mission, to their stakeholders that they report to. So that is really our commitment, and this is how we run our business. So a little bit more specifically, Colleague is the solution that we're proposing. As you look at this diagram, it really kind of represents all the pieces that we're going to get into. First and foremost, Colleague is an integrated solution. So you see student, financial aid, advancement, HR, and finance. All of these pieces come together, and then within each of those subsystems are different modules that we're going to get into. And you see on the outer rings, Enterprise CRM. What's great about Ellucian, our CRM, is a system that we built for higher education that fully integrates into the Colleague platform. So a lot of those discussions we were talking about yesterday in student success and admissions, where your tool wasn't really designed to integrate dynamically into the back-end CX system. It's not the case with this system. So some other key attributes to a Colleague system that is really key is that Colleague is a date-driven system. This is a mandate for you all because of your curriculum model. Like you have your traditional on-campus programs, you have your learning sites. Yesterday it was brought up, maybe you're going to offer a 3-year degree program. You have your online programs. You have the CS program. And so it's really critical that you don't have any limitations from a curriculum diversity perspective with the tool that you're using. And with Colleague, you won't. You will be able to continue to diversify, have 3-year programs, have 1-year programs, have mini sessions, have your traditional programs, all because Colleague is a date-driven system. And so more importantly, you'll be able to administer those programs differently, bill differently, refund differently. We talked yesterday, if you had a 3-year program, then from a residence life perspective, you don't have a lot of students during the summer, that may change that model. You can absolutely do those kinds of things from a date perspective within the Colleague solution. Colleague, as I shared, is a mobile-first application. Everything with this solution that we're going to show you will work on a mobile, is responsive, can work on a tablet, on any device, 24/7 access that you're going to see. We also are proposing a fully cloud deployed solution. And so really what that means is there's no hardware on campus. It's in the cloud, and we're supporting that. So that makes Chris's job a lot easier with maintaining the software, keeping the software up to date. We're doing that for you at Ellucian. From a client community perspective, this is very, very important. Chris actually attended our Great Lakes user group in Michigan a few weeks ago. 300 users in your backyard using the Colleague solution. When you become a client, you will equally be at those user groups. And that's a great networking opportunity. It's a great professional development opportunity for you. Any vendor that you partner with, you want to make sure they have clients in your backyard using the tool that you're going to have. And so there's 26 clients in Michigan that use the Colleague solution. Throughout the country, there's 750 institutions. That is really, really key as you begin to learn and build a skill set using the platform. And many of you asked, our headquarters are in Fairfax, Virginia, and we have a large presence in Mount Vernon. But obviously, a lot of our employees that are on the road a lot, we work and live throughout the country. So I wanted to share with you just a sample of some of the institutions that are our clients. You all fit from a profile perspective very nice into the Colleague community. A few more. As I keep sharing, there's 26 institutions throughout the state that are Colleague schools. Teresa shared she was at Northwood for a few decades. They're a great client. So all of these schools, as well as schools in surrounding states, are always at our Michigan user group. And then I think it's equally important for you when you work with a vendor that they have experience migrating clients from the CX platform. We have migrated 40 to date CX schools to the Colleague platform. Listed here are some of the schools that have migrated from CX. So from a data migration perspective, knowing the file structure and so forth, Ellucian has that experience. And obviously, I keep referencing the Great Lakes user group. Next year it's in September. It's great timing for you all. You'll be able to participate in that. And then nationally, we have a national user group. How nice is Florida in March? This year it's in Orlando. And so the learning curve never stops. You will constantly want to be learning. Tracy will always have a roadmap. Tracy will be asking you to participate in client discussions. What are things that you'd like to see in a Colleague platform? And so going to the user groups, being active, being at the table is really critical. And it really goes back to our philosophy that we want to be a partner, not just a vendor. We want you to be engaged with us as we go through the implementation, obviously, but then for decades to come as we continue to evolve the solution. And our user groups are a key part. As a client, it's really key that there's a support infrastructure for you. And that infrastructure is unlimited support. That's really the takeaway here. So you have a problem, you call us. You don't call Chris. It's another key thing. Any office calls us for support, not just IT. So we want the users to be empowered. So I'm going to transition to Tracy, and she's going to share a little bit with you just from a product manager perspective.
Thank you, Matthew. Well, first, thank you very much for the invitation to be here. We're thrilled to be here, not only for you to get to know Ellucian better, but for us to get to know you better as well. So, as it was shared at the beginning, we welcome questions throughout the presentation. We want to make sure that when you leave here, that you are fully equipped to make the best informed decision for spring harbor. This is maybe the most important slide, and that we truly do grow together. The wow experiences that we provide to our clients that position colleagues to be the leading solution in higher education is because of our collaboration with institutions. And there are numerous ways that we get involved, or clients can get involved and engage with us throughout the process. We have active client communities, development partners that help all the way from the very beginning of an idea and inception through prototypes and developing and testing, all the way through general availability and beyond that. We have customer advisory boards, things like our user experience, as Matthew talked about. That doesn't just stop once we put out a new release for the next update for UI. It continues on at a strategic level to make sure we're delivering the experience that all of you expect and all of your stakeholders expect, all of your staff, administrators, faculty, and students. E-Communities is our online networking where we have thousands of institutions who are participating, really sharing best practices, what's working, what's not working, ideas for future enhancements. It's an excellent collaboration site for higher education, and then of course our entire ecosystem, which includes our partners as well. But the key thing is that we are building for every type of institution in higher education. So we're not focused on the loudest voice in the room. We're focused on doing what's right for higher education for all of our institutions. And one thing that you'll see throughout the day is a tremendous amount of configurability that's built into Colleague to make sure all those different needs are met, so that clients aren't having to rely on customizations, but instead on configurations. The other thing that I want to emphasize that I really love is that because of Ellucian's position in the market, we are also collaborating with clients in ways that extend beyond the software, beyond the products that you're going to see today. A great example of that is when the IRS actually contacted Ellucian. They wanted to meet with us on tax day of all days this year to talk about their proposed regulations for the 1098. And they wanted Ellucian's perspective based on our collaboration with the largest higher education community in the world to help inform them with what is the impact to these proposed regulations to higher education. An outcome of that discussion that happened in coordination with collaboration with our large customer base is that the IRS decided to defer their proposed regulations, giving higher education some more breathing time to think about what the implications are and to really address it in the right way. So that is just, I think, a great testament to how your voice within the Ellucian community is so powerful. It really, at the end of the day, we want to do what's right for higher education. So it's not just about our products, it's in our blood, it's in our DNA. And we'll go to bat for things like that, in addition to just what's the next feature function that we're trying to get out the door. Another great example of this is just the volume of our clients who are engaged. This is just in our research and development, our R&D development process this year alone. And this number is larger than last year. So we love that. We want this number to keep going up every year. But what this really says, and you see it, you'll see it today in the solutions that we'll be sharing with you, is it's because of this engagement, I can't emphasize this enough, that we deliver the wow experience that your students, your faculty, your advisors, your staff are expecting. It's because we are so involved in getting your feedback. We invest a lot of time and effort in usability testing. Matthew talked about Ellucian Live. It's not just about great content, industry leaders, and sessions that you go to. but we do small group discussions, focus groups, going over prototypes, usability testing, getting your hands on the software. And we do this, you'll see our colleague student planning solution. We work directly with students and advisors. It wasn't a project where we worked with IT and we sat in a back room and we thought, well, this is what's best for higher education. Even though we worked 15, 20 years, you heard all of our histories, the second we step outside and we are in the capacity here, we need to rely on, we have our experience, but we need to rely on your current experience, and it's this engagement that makes sure we hit that home run for what you need today. And so we make sure, again, every voice is heard, everyone who wants to participate with us has that opportunity. They're not all large commitments. Some of them, can be a one-meeting focus group. Others with development partners, we might be meeting with them once a month or every other week, depending on the project and the needs. So lots of opportunity for engagement. And so this is just a great example of an outcome of that. When I talk about the WOW experience, this is a student at Fresno Pacific University who shared the best experience I've ever had registering for classes. I've attended 3 other colleges, and with colleague student planning, everything is just one click away. So this is the type of experience, this is the type of testimony, if you will, that we look to do with every single solution. We don't rest on our laurels. This is great when a student shares this about their registration experience. We know a lot of students can transfer, active military are transferring all the time. We work directly with military folks when we built our military and veteran functionality within Colleague. But we continue to tweak and make it even better and better. So even though we get this kind of experience, we're always focused on how can we deliver the best experience for higher education. So as Matthew shared, we have our 4 value drivers. Everything we do lines up with student success and the user experience, operational efficiency, and institutional growth. But I really want to bring the importance to it, and I've got a Michigan example that I want to share. And I'm going to read it to make sure I capture it exactly as it was shared from a gentleman named Mark Martin, who serves as financial aid director at Northwood University. And he shares, colleague self-service is helping students with financial literacy and loan counseling conversations. Students are understanding responsible borrowing and the best use of financial aid to bring the student to graduation. With the importance of academic program completion, colleague self-service is giving us the tools our students and parents need so that applicable funds can be received in a timely manner. And this is advancing our entire society because students are graduating on time, they're more responsible borrowers, and better equipped as they enter the workforce based on their improved financial literacy. So again, this is what it's really all about, providing you with solutions that will help your students to realize their dreams and academic program completion, the kind of experience we want all of your students to have as well. And this is the emotional paycheck that we all get when we go to bed at night and wake up and want to do what we do, is to deliver those kinds of experiences. So another important thing to know about just how we operate and getting to know Ellucian is that we're very sensitive to our clients' path and keeping them current without disruption at the institution. And so while Spring Arbor may start with a SaaS deployment, it's important to know we offer choice. And so we've got clients, as Matthew shared, that have been with us a long time. So we've got on-premise institutions who are hosted where they might keep some of their customizations, but be in the cloud, and then 100% going to SaaS, all in with pure, vanilla without removing their customizations. So our pathway for any institution is to ensure that they have the least amount of disruption. It's not a full re-implementation for those institutions when we keep them current with technology. It's the same line of code, whether you're on-premise, hosted, or SaaS. So everyone has access to the latest features, the latest functionality, and they're not having to feel like they're going through a whole new implementation because they're not. Another important thing thing to know about is just our partner with Amazon Web Services, the global leader. If you look at the Gartner Magic Quadrant in cloud infrastructure, so from data privacy, security, disaster recovery, these folks are amazing to work with. And we're the only ERP provider that is partnered with the global leader for this. And the Department of Justice uses Amazon Web Services in the cloud for their data. So an amazing partner. What I love the most about them though is they really line up well culturally with Ellucian and our values and how we operate, focused on customer service. They have embedded, without us even asking, embedded an AWS, Amazon Web Services person on our team as we go through our SaaS evolution to ensure that we're delivering the best experience for higher education. Their president stood up at their latest public sector conference and shared that they are fully committed with Ellucian to make sure that happens. And so I absolutely love their commitment to the fact that they've got somebody embedded on our team to do that. It is phenomenal. So just important for you to know who our partner is for cloud infrastructure. And then at the end of the day, this is really what it's all about in terms of our institution's journey. This is a quote from Elizabeth Ann Ray in IT from Rebecca Nazarene, an existing colleague customer. When Rebecca considered moving to a colleague cloud deployment, I must admit it felt somewhat daunting. The experience proved to be more than I could have hoped for. The team is knowledgeable, helpful, and educated us on how to provide the information needed. It has been a great experience working with terrific people to find a workable solution for our school, and we are looking forward to moving to the cloud. The key here, though, is everybody, it's a journey. Everybody has different landing spots. Different institutions have different landing spots, but whatever that is, whether it's on-premise, hosted, or SaaS, we come alongside the institutions to get them to their goals based on their institutional strategic objectives. And it's this kind of experience that we, again, have with our clients. Equally important, we have 1,200 higher education consultants who have lived the day in the life of, who understand the needs of higher education. We see it through the numerous implementation experiences that we have, so we can help you. Chances are we have seen whatever issues or concerns, things you might be grappling with, where we can provide guidance, best practices, and lean within our large community to help you through and see you to success. So we are really, we're focused exclusively on higher ed. We have a team of experts in the planning, implementation, consulting, and on-site as well. We have a rapid deployment model to get you where you need to go based on best practices and what we've seen in the market, so you're not having to rethink everything from scratch. We'll bring that expertise to you through the discussions during the implementation. On time, within budget, that's always been a strength of Poly. You won't see us in the news not being on time and within budget, so that's really important to know as well. And choice is really key, as I said. We don't lock people into one way. This is the only way you can do things. There's a great amount of configuration. We also have future-proof technology. We just recently went through an update of our user interface. Major changes under the covers from a technology perspective to keep it modern. Our institutions are going to be able to deploy that at the click of a button. It is not disruptive. It is easy to deploy. So really future-proof. And the entire institution really is not going to know the significance of changing those underpinnings to make sure that colleague always has the latest technology. I've already mentioned several times about configurations for higher education, and specifically about colleague and how that applies here. But the key thing is everything we do, from how you theme and how your colors within self-service. Those are all configuration options. They're not customizations. The graduation application, looking at how you can turn on and off features without having to be in IT to say, I want this field to show, I don't want this field to show. That's not an IT function. That's something end users can do, just a great example of how we're putting the power to the end user in a way that's intuitive for you. Institution policies on confirming information is current prior to registration. We've got a ton of configuration options for co-recs and prereqs and requirements around those. These are just examples. Google Analytics is built in so you know exactly how and when people are using colleague self-service, even down to the parent proxy level. Or registration times, which is super important. So in closing, the real takeaways are, I want to make sure that you're left with remembering we are about modern technology and best practices for higher ed with a focus, a laser focus on configurations over customizations. We give you a ton of choice in terms of deployment models, in terms of your implementation processes. You're working directly with us to incorporate best practices, not a third-party consulting firm to do those implementations. They are all Ellucian employees who have expertise with colleagues. And our SaaS solution is built with industry-leading cloud infrastructure with Amazon Web Services, which is very powerful, very important to keep in mind as you move forward in your SaaS journey. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Matthew.
We wanted to just share this portal with you. I think everyone should write this address down. You will be able to go to this site and see additional demos, get additional information on the college solution. So I know through these next 2 days we'll show a lot to you, but this is another great resource for you. So Joe, I think we're going to transition to the overview part. Absolutely. And tomorrow, in the agenda, you'll see that we're sponsoring a lunch. And we really encourage everyone to come to see in depth the mobile presentation as well as reporting presentation, and we're going to have a working lunch. So please come. I think everyone would agree reporting is really key to the user community. So we're enticing you with the lunch. So please come.
Excellent. Thank you, Matthew, and thanks, Tracy. That's thank you. I was kind of that slide. Well, machine. So I get to do the live demonstration of the software this morning for you. And I tend to think of my portion of today's program without the cool movie guy voice is this is the trailer. Okay? I'm going to give you in the next 13 minutes 2 days worth of material to kind of give you that teaser. What do you want to think about when you go to that session to learn more about human resources and payroll? What do you want to think about when you go learn more about any of the particular pieces that affect your business, your day-to-day work life? So that's kind of my goal. And I'm going to do this in 3 sort of passes, if you will. I'm going to start with student experience, kind of look at that faculty advisor kind of person second, and wrap up with our staff, kind of administrator person. So with that being said, let's start looking at the component. I'm going to unplug for a moment and switch over to my iPad. Okay, thank you. So let's see if this is going to pick up real easily. Thinking about it. We'd like to look at IT in the back of the room. Plugging it in. All right, we're going to skip that portion. We'll just go right into the self-service portion. Okay, there is a mobile session tomorrow afternoon. into my student experience. So for a moment. I'm going to hop into, and I was planning to do this from over here on my mobile, so give me one moment to log in here. And I'm going to fast forward a moment because I wasn't logged in, and I'm going to hop to my faculty staff experience because I'm going to show you some of the self-service features that are going to mirror some of the student experiences. Right now, I'm in my portal as that faculty staff person, and the first thing that I want to point out from their perspective, and this is going to match the student perspective, is this middle area with my classes. Now, this faculty member is teaching a lot of the class, but I want you to see the lovely little blackboard icons there. The instructor, as well as the students, are going to be able to directly connect to their Blackboard classes. So that means they're going to see announcements, see assignments, and when they click on those links, it's going to take them directly to not just the class already signed in, but the assignment, the announcement, the discussion thread, any of those online pieces there as well. And those particular assignments are also going to be viewable from the mobile application. They're going to see those components as well. And you can even see on the right-hand side in the calendar, we're also going to see those calendar meetings taking place as well. I'm going to hop forward into our self-service component. There's some really important aspects of the self-service tool for users of the system. First thing that I think is important is this notification area in the top right. Because there are times when we want to get folks' attention. Maybe from a negative perspective, you may have forgotten that you owe the institution a little bit of money. You may have forgotten that you have a library book that's overdue and you need to turn it in. Or something positive. Hey, open enrollment employees are coming around again. Make sure you review your open enrollment. You review your benefits to make sure that folks can see that. Now I'm looking at that here on my laptop, but as we mentioned before this morning, all of the self-service pieces all use responsive design. So if I'm looking at it on my phone, it's a good, usable experience. It's not pinching and zooming and all those kind of things. We start with small device first and build up from there, because that's how everybody does business in 2016. You start with mobile devices. Okay? And there's a lot of opportunity here for your students, your staff, your administrators and faculty as well. So lots of things that I can do if I'm working with students. I can help advise those students. So I can take a look at any of my students and see how things are going for them. And select one of my students from my list. I like to always start when I'm working with students, or I want students to start using their real-time online degree audit. I want them to be able to see at a quick glance how much they've completed towards graduation with the red, yellow, green kinds of components. I want them to see their cumulative GPA. I want them to understand how they're doing here at Spring Arbor with their institutional GPA. And then I want them to see specifically, again, red, yellow, green stoplights, how they're doing in those specific components of their degree, of their plan moving forward. In an effort to make things easier to read, we hide things that are finished. So as they finish a component, they finish the core component, they finish mathematics, that will shrink up for them to be easier to read. And again, we can kind of see how those things are. I also recognize that life happens, and we have to make exceptions sometimes. We talked about this yesterday in one of the discoveries, that sometimes we need to say, all right, we'll take a lower grade here, or we're going to swap this class for that class for this student. On an individual basis, we can capture those exceptions and move forward. The audit is great because it allows students to start building that plan forward by searching for those key components. I know I need an elective, but I don't know what satisfies. I know I need a class that focuses on world situations. I don't know what classes those are. Show me. So we can start seeing those kind of pieces. And whether this is an advisor working with a student, or again, the student doing their piece, the same online experience. And that's building towards that plan that's going out into the future, so they can see what does it look like next term, next year, 2 terms from now, J term next year, what are those pieces? That's fantastic and easy for the student to do. It's also fantastic for us because again, we know our demand. How many sections should we be offering of X? Because we know what it looks like 3 years from now, 3 semesters from now. We could also allow folks to search that real-time online course catalog. What's great about this is also going to be available for someone that's not here. So a really nice marketing tool. Hey, I'd like to check out our course catalog. Go look at the classes that we have offered out there. These are real courses that folks can be able to search your catalog real time and see those classes, read those descriptions, understand what those requisites might be. Okay. We are also going to have that conversation with the student, leaving notes back and forth when we have that meeting. Remember, we talked about taking this particular class for an elective. Don't miss it because it's only offered in the spring. Leaving those notes so they'll be able to see them going back and forth. Students, if they need to grab that unofficial transcript, just to have a quick peek to show somebody, we can do that. We can see our standardized test scores, understand how those ACT or SAT items came in. Again, I'm looking at this from an advisor perspective, but so far everything I've seen is the same thing that the student sees and does. It's the same tool, so it makes for an easy conversation, whether I'm in the global area or I'm here on main campus talking with an on-campus student, same experience. Everybody is using the same tools. If I'm an advisor though, I can come out here and look at that that plan for next term. I can maybe decide that I want to go ahead and approve these classes. Yeah, these look like a reasonable set of classes that you can take. Well, most of them look good, but one of them not so much. I might want to deny. And for those students that just can't stay on topic and stay on task, I can lock this plan in place with that protect and unprotect. Now, not everyone needs their plan in place, but you guys can think of a student in your mind, don't say it out loud, but you can think of a student that, like, yeah, they could really use those guardrails to keep them kind of going on the right path. You know, I mean, that's just sort of reality, you know, around that. So that's kind of one of the, great components here for that. Students also need the ability to let you know about their emergency contact information, right? So I'm going to add a new contact in. Tell me who this person is. Who should we contact in case of emergency? What are those numbers of people? If you're on-campus students, if this is a missing person situation, who should I also contact? They can add those records into the system. Because I have some registrar blood in me, that confirmation button at the top, maybe I don't want you to register if we don't have this information in the last 60, 90 days. You know, I can tie that and say, wait a minute, before you register, let's make sure that we have this all squared away so we can easily, do things like that. Also having the ability to update the university about addresses. Maybe I've got a new phone number that I want you to know about. Again, I can tie these address confirmations to registration. Really important that we stay current on where somebody is. Students also have the ability to view and add proxy folks into the system. So, giving somebody permission to say, yeah, I want you to see my financial information. I want you to be able to pay my bill, mom, dad, grandma. I want you to see my financial aid information so you know kind of how this is all squaring up. So those things that the students will be able to grant out to other individuals. Students as well as employees will be able to indicate banking information by saying, okay, if I'm going to get a refund check, where does it need to go? Not a check, but let's go ahead and do the direct deposit into the bank. Let's save some money on printing those checks. Through our refunds, reimbursements, and payments. If I'm an employee, let's have my money, $600 is going to go to a savings account that I'm going to save for a rainy day. The rest of it are regular operating expenses as an employee, drive them right into the balance there. So as an employee, I can send those to multiple places and pieces of information. Again, all of you can manage that myself. So handling lots of simple transactions and tasks that I'm able to do on here. As an instructor, I'm also going to be able to, look at class rosters, look at my schedule, and see those kind of, pieces through here. When it comes time, I'll be able to do grading. Also, I'm going to have the capabilities through permissions if I need to grant a student. Maybe I've had a conversation, maybe I've seen an unofficial transcript. They're going to go ahead and satisfy the prerequisite, even though they don't officially need it, but I've had that conversation. I think it'll be a good fine. I could give them permission to go past that requisite and go ahead and register. Or those classes that need a permission to get in, music lessons, practicum, those kind of things that want to have a conversation or you need to do a portfolio before you get in, we can grant that permission online to allow that student to go forward and register. So, kind of the key takeaways to me from this, again, we'll start with sort of the student perspective, is that we have that fully responsive design. When I use it on a mobile browser, it shrinks down and has things that work very easily for me to be able to operate and do it on a phone. Secondly, all of the key functionality to be able to do business, from looking at my degree audit, from registering for classes, from checking my grades, working with my advisors and academically getting on the right track. All of that stuff can be done from any device at any time. From our faculty, kind of an advisor perspective, we already talked about that integration with Blackboard. We've already talked a lot about the self-service pieces. I kind of hit both these at the same time this morning. So we have that really, I think, good perspective on similar tools, in some cases, same tool, same view, makes for easy conversations, right? So no one is trying to describe to you what they're looking at, but you know exactly what they're seeing, exactly what they're doing. So the last perspective here, and I am going to go a couple minutes into our break. The last perspective is that sort of administrator staff perspective, and kind of what can we do from that view. And so in here again, I'm going to kind of start with my portal perspective real briefly. I think you are seeing in the upper left-hand corner there in that calendar, you're seeing that integrated Outlook experience. So if you live and die by your Outlook calendar, and you would never show up to a meeting if it wasn't in your Outlook calendar, you'll be able to see this from that portal experience as well. On the right-hand side, in that applications area, seamless integration into other devices, single sign-on, or other components. So if you're specifically focused on, let's say, that student success piece, you don't have to sign into 16 different things. You're being brought into any of those at a particular moment. So you have those pieces. From again, as an employee and a staff member in the self-service arena, I want to hit a couple of things out here as well. And my eyes are not doing best for me at the moment. So just bear with me. Got to it, I apologize. Employee perspective, some things that are going to be important for me as an employee at the university. Checking out my W-2 information online, not needing to wait for it to come into the mail, those kind of things, recognize that given that consent electronically. My 1095-C information also important. We talked about the banking information. If I'm an employee that needs to complete some form of a timesheet, being able to do that with my mobile device, I'm able to do that here as well as looking at those other components as far as being that financial piece in here as well. So let me go back and look at that here in my goal. Being able to look at that, if I'm a budget officer as well, again, employee perspective, I'm that budget officer, and I've got some budget responsibilities. Being able to see how am I doing with my spending. right? I don't have to wait for a monthly report from the finance area, but I'm able to quickly look at this and know how I'm doing. A couple of different views here of it. Wow, not doing well in a couple of areas this year, so I can see that quite easily. This view is a little daunting, a little less red in this view. If you're a little nervous about that red, bright thermometer staring at you, go to this view because then it's a little calmer for you, for you to see that. But you can drill in and see how I've overspent in this area. So I can see that, okay, well here's supplies, what have I done? I can drill in and say, good God, we spent a lot on personal computers, Chris. We can drill in and see more information about all of those. We can get down to the particular document on the exact order that we made and drill all the way in at that level. So for anyone that has any kind of budget responsibility, we make it very easy for you to see and get that information. All of those pieces that we saw here this morning are all real-time connections. None of this is waiting on a batch process. This is not an overnight thing. Did my purchase order get approved? Can I go ahead and go out to Myers and buy X? You can know at any moment in all real-time information. So we're not waiting for anything to happen overnight. So from my staff perspective, that single source of information is what I had. I didn't have to go to multiple places. I got it all in one spot. And they were automatic. I didn't have to wait for any processing. I didn't have to do anything else to get there. So this was the briefest of brief teases into those areas. But what I want you to walk away with is that your students, your employees, your faculty, your community, your prospective students, all have that online experience to be able to interact with you as an institution from any device at any point in time. And so in your sessions today, you're going to see these in more detail. We're going to go in and answer all the questions. We all, Kim, Sarah, Dave, Connie, and others, we all got sort of our plan. Here's what I want this time together to go. But it is your time. So I really encourage you to ask those questions. If you have a burning question about some challenge you have today, ask those questions. Attend the session and ask the questions. And when we're not here to answer your questions, Ellucian.com/Arbor is your other resource to start with. There's some good videos and testimonials on there. There's some documents and images to help you understand a little bit more about the solution. You're trying to remember, what did that look like? I remember seeing something, oh yeah, let me go look. And that particular site for you guys is important. So we have about 6 minutes to get to the 9:45 session. I know we have admissions